All right, so I got inspired by this dude named Alexander APL on YouTube. You should go check him out. He did this thing where he ran 61 marathons in 61 days, which was sick. And as part of the process leading up to it, he recorded himself every night, just talking to the camera, no cuts, no edits, about what was going through his mind. And I thought that was a really cool thing to do because at the end of that process, that journey, that transformed him, he had like a library of his thinking along the way, trials, tribulations, and I love the style too, because there's a lot of like hyper edited, different stuff online. And so to have someone just like sit with the camera and talk with no cuts, while it's slower and longer, it was refreshing. And so I wanted to do something like that for myself, because one day I will be old and gray, and I will remember vaguely what it was like to live in New York City in my 20s and to try to, make something of myself and go out there and do all the things. And I want to be able to watch these back. So mostly doing this for myself and as a way to practice weaving together words, ideas, thoughts, concepts. And if anyone else finds it interesting, that's awesome as well. And so one kind of thing that's on my mind is I've had a lot of ideas in my life, right? A lot of different ideas for products, companies, events I could throw, people I could meet, messages I could send. And I would say probably 5% of them ever see the light of day. And I always wonder why those 5%? Why were those the things that got out the door? Why was that the trip that made it out the group chat? And I kind of did a little bit of an analysis, and I kind of wrote down some of my ideas that I've actually seen the light of day, and I said, what was different about these? Why these ones? And all the ones that made it out of my mind were things that I acted on right away. Not in like I thought about it for a couple months and finally ended up doing it. It's got to be like same day or same week. And so for this, I really wanted to do this. And this was like last week or like yesterday even. And so I was like, I should just start. I'll just start and it'll be ugly. And I don't know, could be stupid, whatever. But if I start, then it will at least get out the door. So I'm starting, and again, the intention, have something to look back on, kind of like get to share, more of a long form way, which is how I like to consume stuff, because it doesn't fuck with your brain as much. To get to share some of the thoughts and ideas that I have. And I'm gonna try to do I don't want it to just be like, here's what I did today. I want it to be like, here's an insight or something that I've been like wrestling with in my mind, or in my life for each one of these. So I have a whole list of things that I want to talk about. I'm gonna read the list because if anyone is watching this, could you let me know if any of these are actually interesting? But here's and I'm gonna hit on the first one today, which is my journey of building social skills. But here's the rest of the list. My journey of building social skills, my philosophy on self-discovery, the core pillars of my life, everything I've learned about long-distance dating, how to move to New York City and what to expect, how to create opportunities for yourself, the importance of relationships and how to build them, how to think in systems, how to have a radar for good people, the importance of doing your best, why I stopped drinking and how to be sober but still have fun. I'm not like fully sober, but I don't drink a lot. How to move quickly on ideas, technicians versus artists, the top 5 rabbit holes I've been down in my life, everything is learnable, aiming for excellence instead of success, my journey of authenticity, using your days to carve yourself into the person you want to be, and the importance of creating. That was just a list I came up with in like literally a minute. But I have a lot of ideas and a lot of shit that I want to share that I always think like, damn, if I died tomorrow and like my ideas weren't memorialized somewhere, that'd be a shame, be a waste. For no other reason than just like, I want to like get my ideas out in the world. So I'm going to try to do more of these, or like continue to do this. I think this would be a really cool like through line to have for my whole life. That'd be sick. Just to be able to like document, and not like Instagram highlight reel document, but document like 20 minutes, sit down, talk to camera. Here's what was going through my head. Like a diary with visuals, so I could see my tone and like my haircut and like what was going on at the time. But yeah, so, and just to give you a sense of place, I'm in my New York City apartment. I've been in this spot for almost a year now. It is, what is it? June 29th, 2025. I'm 27 years old. I've been in New York for 2 years now. I live with my friends Carter and Cole. And I've got a little shoebox apartment. It's but I like it. It's cozy, it's quaint. It's my first apartment that I've actually like tried to make nice. I got like light, like a tan duvet cover. Also have a duvet cover, which is sick. And yeah, so that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at in my life. What else could I add to that? Yeah, that's it. Okay, so for today, again, I don't know if anyone would listen to this, but I'm also trying to not do it for anyone else. I'm trying to do it for myself. So that's like another thing I'm working on right now is living more authentically, trying to just do shit I want to do, because good always comes from that. So the one I want to talk about today is my journey of building social skills. So for those of you who don't know, I've done a lot of TikToks on this. I have like a random TikTok following of like 20,000 people that I've gained from just giving like life tips on how to meet people, how to make friends, how to move cities, how to like build self-confidence, just random shit like this. Because I have an interesting brain in the sense that I can see patterns where I think other people just see vibes. They're just like, oh, well, I just do that. But I don't know why. I think it's because I studied engineering or I have a math brain, but I can see a situation or see a situation or a transformation that I've been through, and I can pull out a framework from it. And then distill that into like super common language, and then be able to like share that with someone so that hopefully if they're struggling with that same problem, it's actually useful. Because if I'm just like, oh dude, you just gotta get out there, just go out and meet people. It's like, well, it's easier for you because you may be a natural at it, but what if I'm not a natural at it? So I think it can be super helpful to use my brain to pull out these kind of frameworks, package it, distill it, and then share. So my journey of building social skills. I'm going to start this story in high school. I vividly remember being in high school. It was sophomore year, and I was with some friends, and we were going to this Halloween party. And, high school is an interesting time because everyone's trying to kind of figure themselves out. You just want to be cool. You want people to like you. You want to be in the cool kid group. You want to get invited to stuff. You want to go to the prom party that everyone's going to. That's like, at least for me, that was like my biggest worry, or my biggest desire rather. And so I was with some cool kids, and we were going to this party, and it was hosted by a different school. It wasn't like someone in our school that was hosting it, and I didn't know anyone at this other school, but a lot of them did because they knew him from whatever other sports and whatnot. And we went to the party, and I remember we got there, and as soon as we got there, everyone scattered. Like all my friends just went and talked to other people that they knew there. And at the time, I didn't know anyone. And I remember feeling so fucking scared. I was like, holy shit, I don't know anyone. I'm alone. I'm trapped. And like my social anxiety levels through the roof. So vividly remember this. Because what I did next was very smart and very strategic. I would ask people one second, I'm getting a call. Give me 10 minutes, wrapping something up. That was my awesome girlfriend, Natalia. She's great. But I want to finish this because we started it. Where was I? And I'm not gonna be able to cut this, so you're gonna have to listen to this. Oh yeah, so at the party, everyone leaves, and my idea to talk to people was I'm just gonna continue to I'm gonna ask people where the bathroom is. That'll be my easy way in. So I would just go to people like, hey, do you guys know if there's a bathroom here? And they'd be like, I think it's over there. And then I would like go over there, but I didn't have to go to the bathroom, or I did, and I did once, and then like I kept doing it though. I would go to the next people like, hey, do you guys know where the bathroom is? And I just remember doing this because it's like the only thing that I was like comfortable enough to ask. And it's crazy looking back on that because my social skills at the time and my self-confidence were like non-existent. Not non-existent, but like very low, very low. And I only bring this up because this weekend and just, being in New York as a whole, you're constantly, so for context, I moved to New York and I didn't really know many people at all. My sister lived here, which is great. But I kind of wanted to carve my own lane. I didn't want to like just, be friends with all my sister's friends. So when I came, I kind of was like, all right, I'm going to build from scratch a social group. And that requires going to a ton of things alone, knowing nobody, pulling up to stuff literally alone where everyone else is in groups, and just like forcing yourself to get out there. And so I've seen how far I've come. So it was interesting to think back to that time where I literally couldn't ask someone at a Halloween party. It's like the easiest thing ever. Everyone's wearing costumes. Like no one even knows who anyone is. Like half these people don't know the other people. Like there's so many easy ways. And hey, nice ghost outfit, dude. Where's that from? Toys R Us? That's sick, man. Oh, you play sports? What high school you go to? Oh, it's like so easy. Low-hanging fruit. But I didn't have those skills. And so the first thing I want to like talk about is that social skills are learnable. It is totally learnable, and that's a hill I will die on. So if anyone out there is listening and they're like, hey, I'm just not like a social guy or a girl, I'm just whatever, it's like, it's tough for me. That's fine, and that's your starting point, but don't let that label define you. I thought I was shy for a long time. I'm not shy. I'm not shy at all. I'm an extrovert. I love going to events. I love people, but for whatever reason, I had labeled myself as shy, and I was just like around the wrong people. And I felt shy because I felt like I couldn't be myself. But once I figured out what it felt like to be myself and then just started being myself more and was okay with like, you know, not being in certain groups because like they didn't, you know, fit my vibe, it was night and day different. It was way better. And so, yeah, so the kind of journey, the progression of social skills. So I remember that day very vividly. And I remember in high school, I had good friends, but I always kind of felt like I didn't fully fit in. Like I wasn't fully being myself. There were certain like pockets, certain groups where I did fully feel myself. But there were other situations, and a lot of them where I felt like I was like trying to put on a show, trying to make people like me essentially, which is a whole different topic of like people pleasing and all that. But then fast forward into college, I went to the University of San Diego in San Diego. And that was a whole new world for me because it was a chance for me to reinvent myself. So that's another kind of takeaway is if you feel like you might be in a similar situation where you have certain groups where you feel like you can be yourself and you've seen yourself in your fullest form, but you want more of that, a lot of times your environment or the people or the groups that you're in can be a big part of that. And if you get to a place where you can start over or start fresh, that can be a very liberating experience. And that's something I felt when I moved to San Diego. One, the sun is out all the time. I'm, from Portland, go down to San Diego. I'm like, this is sick. This is so cool. So everyone's just kind of naturally happier and friendlier because it's warm and sunny. So that was like it's a very easy place to make friends and meet people. But also no one knew me. And so I didn't have to be anything. I could kind of like carve my own path, be whoever I wanted. So that was a great chance for me to start to build on some of the insights I'd had in my high school years of like, okay, I feel like I'm not really being myself. Like I want to be more myself. And then coming into college, I was able to do that. And I also was able to choose my friends from day one. And I was very intentional about that. I had an underlying sense. I know much more now what I look for, but I started to have a sense of what I was looking for because I had known people in high school where I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, but that's not really for me. So like I kind of had narrowed down what I was looking for in a friend. And so coming into San Diego, I was able to pick up on that. And then the power of being around people who make you feel yourself and like build you up is great because then you kind of come into your own. You have more self-confidence, and that's kind of a topic for another day, the whole self-confidence thing. But yeah, so San Diego was like V2, right? If high school is V1 and growing up is V1 all in Portland, San Diego is V2. From there, I get to go from like, okay, starting fresh, meeting people, being more intentional, and I'll do a whole thing on like having a radar for good people because that's something I talk about a lot. San Diego takes me from not a ton of confidence or social skills to like, okay, I'm actually pretty good at working a room. And so some of the things that I worked on, I struggled for a long time on first lines. What do you say to someone, guy or girl? Like not even like, doesn't have to be like approaching like the opposite gender, but like anyone. If you just are at a party and you're alone, how do you like insert yourself into a conversation without it being weird? The biggest thing for me was not overthinking it. Don't overthink it. And I would practice this. I would go up to strangers and my rule was like first thing that comes to mind, and usually a compliment, but make it genuine. Don't say you like their shoes if you don't like your shoes, but like find something about the person you like and that's your way in. Dude, nice shirt. Where's that from? Easy, done. They're gonna love you. Or at least you're gonna get into the conversation. Or there's always something. And so I would go out randomly and just like practice this stuff in the streets or with the barista at Starbucks and stuff like that. And over time, I would, you see it work enough times where you're like, this is like, oh, it's always gonna work. And like when I say work, I mean like you won't get like rejected, like, oh my God, dude, don't talk to me, which is I think kind of the fear underlying all of it is like if I insert myself here, I'm gonna get a bunch of side eyes and weird looks and people are gonna, you know, not invite me into this conversation. But I would say 99% of the time, no one gives a shit. And they're like, cool, yeah, what's up, dude? As long as you're kind of like coming with normal energy. And that's another thing I would add is like, if you're uncomfortable in your own skin, you're going to make other people uncomfortable in theirs. So that is something to work on. And that's like more self-work. Are you cool with yourself? Can you, are you comfortable with who you are? And have you allowed yourself to kind of express who you really are? And if you are, you make other people comfortable. And that's actually something, it feels weird to say, but I get that compliment a lot. People are like, your presence makes me feel very comfortable and very like calm, which I think is a good compliment. I like that compliment. I feel like it shows that I've kind of worked on myself and like I'm cool with me. So like if I show up, I'm not gonna bring any like weird like shifty energy, hopefully. So that was another thing is like kind of like your presence and how you approach a situation is part of it. And then like that first line, that's the way in. I can do a whole segment on like, all right, how do you follow up? Like, how do you actually make the friend? But like, I think for the sake of like the journey of social skills, there was a lot of learnings on that front of like, all right, making new friends, being more yourself, building up that self-confidence. And a lot of it is just reps, man. It's just reps. Do it over and over and over. Because the thing about reps is like I said earlier, it's a game of statistics. If you've never done it, you have no idea what's going to happen. It's like anything can happen. If you've done it 1,000 times and 998 times it goes great, you're going to have no problem doing it. So get the reps in, get your 1,000 reps and you'll be fine. And so then the last piece of this puzzle is moving to New York City, which is like the granddaddy of building your social skills, especially if you come alone. Because you're literally thrown into like the fastest paced, most aggressive, just like high stakes kind of, like not high stakes, but just like everything's heightened here, right? And that was something I really wanted to do, weirdly, because I'm very aware of this phenomenon where like the things you throw yourself into end up shaping you into the person you become. And so if you throw yourself into the deep end, you're going to become sick. You're going to be awesome. And so I was very excited to kind of move to New York. That doesn't mean it wasn't fucking scary. It was super scary. And I remember I was looking back at this the other day. My calendar on my first week when I got here, completely empty. For context, I was at the time like a freelance videographer. So I didn't have a job. I had like a little bit of savings and an apartment. And I knew like a couple of people. So when I moved, my calendar was like white. There's no one, no calls, no meetings, no parties, no nothing. And like you also have like your short little list of leads of potential friends or people, and you like hit them up. You hit up your like 6 people, and then they're like, oh yeah, cool, like welcome, or like, oh yeah, like I'll let you know if anything's going on. And then like you don't hear from them, and you're like, fuck. That was it. That was like my whole list. That was what was supposed to like be the starting of my friend group, of my client list, of whatever. And so it's all this to say, it's a very kind of like intimidating thing to jump into, but it's like, it's literally sink or swim. It's the thing that causes you to have to do all that stuff we just talked about of going. So here's how I approached it. My first 3 months, and I would suggest this to anyone who wants to build their social skills or wants to work on, the conversational skills, like making friends, stuff like that. 3 months of yes, host a dinner event, and then do second degree dinners. I made a TikTok about this that did super well, but it's my framework for going to new cities. So 3 months of yes is basically just first 3 months you're gonna say yes to everything. And that doesn't just mean invites. That also means, you walk down the street, you see a sign that says yoga at 6 p.m. You go to that. You hear of something on TikTok, some random rave party, whatever, you go to that. You bump into something on the way home. You stop in, you say hello to people. What's going on? What is this? Oh, cool. Where are you from? Oh, cool. I'm Matt. Nice to meet you. I just moved here 2 weeks ago. And play the new card. People love that. Oh, you just moved? Like, you got to go to this thing. Like, that was a cool thing to see it. Like, if you say, yeah, I moved here 2 weeks ago, everyone remembers moving to New York and having no friends. And so people were way cooler than I was expecting and like helping you out with like meeting people. So moved to New York, thrown into the deep end, learned a ton about making friends and building a social circle and doing it intentionally so you don't end up with a bunch of random friends, but you kind of know what you're looking for. And again, I'll put that in a different video of how to have a friend or a radar for good people, how to choose friends wisely and stuff like that. But yeah, that's my full circle. Starting from like not being able to talk to anyone at the Halloween party to, I guess the final thing would be this weekend. I was at an event with my good buddy Sam Soden through an event, and it was sick. They crushed it. But I went, no, I guess I knew a lot of people there, so I was a little bit different. But I met a ton of new people, and I was just like, I just was proud of myself because I was approaching everybody and anybody, going up, being like, "What's up, man? What's your name? Camera." Let's say, like, it felt so easy to me, and I vividly remember that not feeling easy in the past. And so it's cool to see your own growth and transformation, and I hope that everyone can do that and can kind of see that same growth if that's something they're looking for. So that's episode 1 of self-documentation. Again, I'm gonna try to keep this rolling. I think it's gonna be sick. A cool like video journal diary of being in New York and like trying to figure your life out and trying to make it all happen, and also just your random thoughts and ideas and frameworks that come to mind. All right, thank you to nobody. I don't know. Thanks. I feel like I gotta say thanks at the end. And I'll see you on the next one. All right, peace.